Trevor, thanks so much for making some time for us today. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me, guys.
No,
Thanks,
really appreciate the time. So, okay, I was going to start with, like, what was going through your mind yesterday when the wind is, like, carrying this ball out of the ballpark that should have never been a home run yesterday. But we got some new video from spring training from this morning, and it looks like the team was simulating what it would be like to win Game 7 of the World Series and celebrate. So, first of all, were you a part of that because we couldn't make out sort of who was all on the field? And secondly, like, what? Is that normal? What were you guys doing today?
No, I wasn't part of that. But yeah, it's pretty funny. I was done by then, so I wasn't there. But yeah, I mean, might as well visualize. We're big visualizers here. Trying to hear.
If you can see it, you can be it.
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
Yeah, you can see it. I mean, you're more likely to achieve your goals if you act it out first. So that's what we're doing.
Now, Trevor, what has
on the
been?
World Series.
Yeah, that's it. What has been your impressions? First go around here, Rojas run camp down in Port St. Lucie.
It's been good. When it comes to spring, it varies pretty wildly with the amount of things you're doing. When you're getting in there, what time in the morning. I've been in camps where I was there before 6 a.m. and I've had camps where I get there a little bit later and get a little more sleep. And it's been very much know what you need to get done, go about your work crisply, and make sure you're getting everything done you need to get done so you're ready to go out there and compete on the field, and then go enjoy your day. That was very much what it's been for me the last few years, and it's continued here. But yeah, pretty a lot of guys feeling comfortable with what they're doing and getting ready and getting excited, getting ramped up. So I'm having a great time.
That's great. And, expect it with you. It's like, you're in your 30s, like 31 years old. Like, you know what you need to do to get ready for the season, right? Don't need to be micromanaged. Trevor May is our guest. So where are you right now in your ramp-up process? Like, how close, if the season started tomorrow, would you be ready to go? Or, how close are you?
I'd like to think I could adjust to a season starting tomorrow, but unfortunately, I don't have to. So, yeah, I mean, I would say a lot of the benchmarks that I look at, physically and how I approach hitters and preparing for games. There's still a couple things to lock in, with James behind the plate and Thomas behind the plate, and just kind of getting used to how we're going to do signs and what we're kind of aiming to do in certain situations. That's kind of all what's happening now. But in terms of physically, I mean, the fastball velocity is coming really, really quickly. I'm happy. I'm right on pace there. All the advanced metrics on all the pitches are there. It's just about just sharpening stuff up. So I would say, a handful of outings more, and I'll be ready to go for day one. I think the next step is pitch 2 or 3 times in a short period of time, because that's going to be big during the season, and throwing back to back if possible. We don't have as many games as we usually have, so that might not be something we can do, easily. Maybe it's a throw and then throw a bullpen the next day just to get your body to bounce back. But those are things that I haven't had much of an issue with in the past. So, but everything else, I'm checking all the boxes. I'm feeling good. Working through some early spring training, kind of getting the rust off, and now I'm starting to feel like we're getting a little bit in the flow a little bit. I know other guys too have said the same thing.
Yeah, listen, Trevor May is our guest, and excited to hear that. You mentioned James McCann, and I heard you talking to Chris Rose on that podcast about how you walk in, and it's like Jacob deGrom and James McCann have already been huddled for hours going through, pitch sequences and signs and stuff like that, and you're like, man, can I get a little love? It's just McCann and deGrom all day long. I know you were half kidding there, but, can you flesh that out a little bit more? What are you seeing from McCann working with not just you, but, the rest of the pitchers on the staff?
Yeah, he takes that role of kind of the pilot of the team, a good catcher. That is kind of the role that they take, and they a lot of times they're setting up the defense for whatever the situation is. They're for the most part calling the game. Being on the same page with them is so important. So I can't fault him for really locking that in with 2 of the 3 last 3 Cy Young winner. Your game 1 guy. First, he's going to be an anchor for this team. He's a leader in the clubhouse. Jacob is, and it's to have them on the same page is going to be I mean, them working really well together is going to be a really big part of us being a good team this year. And so you get that right away when you talk to McCann. He's thinking through. He's got what he needs to know about every pitcher. He was approaching everyone early, making sure that he was getting kind of the basics down, and then feeling it out as we go out there. So like we're figuring out our pitch sequences, what we want to go. Like yesterday, I shook a little bit to get to the changeup to start throwing a little bit more to righties and lefties, and he was like, okay, like I see how you want to use that pitch because I've been notoriously known for the fastball and the slider. So that type of stuff. Figuring out ways to use it. That's kind of where we're at now. It's the guys with the third pitch figuring out when we're going to use it, how it's going to set up the other stuff, and just kind of getting more in depth in there. So, but he's on top of his stuff, and that's amazing to see.
Trevor, is that a conversation then after the game that you and McCann have conversations about game situations, your comfortability, what you want to throw, when you want to throw, location, to build up that trust factor with your new battery mate?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't help but kind of go over the outing and what you could have done a little bit better, what was working really well, so you can repeat it. And yeah, the changeup was figuring out where that fits because I was a starter for a long time. I've whittled my repertoire down from 5 to 3 pitches, and even then, like a good reliever only throws 15 pitches in an inning. It's hard to even work 3 in sometimes. So finding a spot for that changeup, especially when the other 2 are such high swing and miss pitches, is not easy right away for catchers with me. And so that's just something that we are going over scenarios why I wanted to go to a pitch, when in the count I would go to a pitch, especially if I don't know a lot about a hitter. It's something that I like to use early, and then it sets up the gets guys off of the other 2, makes them have to take it seriously as a third pitch, and then it opens it up for the other 2. So that's kind of the way we work through it. But that is something that I see. Not only has he done it with me, I've seen him grab a guy that had a younger guy in the game and went over the same type things.
Trevor, I want to ask you about one of your fellow relievers. What have been Edwin Diaz is a huge talking point. He's going to fill that closer's role for you guys. What have you seen here from Edwin Diaz early on in camp down in Port St. Lucie?
Well, the guy's electric. I don't think anyone could deny that. But he's just attacking guys right away. I think that that's something, with how he throws and how he approaches hitters. It's all about just kind of giving them your best stuff and giving them the fire. And I think that, sometimes we can shy away from that stuff a little bit. But he's a guy, really good slider, really, really good fastball. And it's just, if he can hit those 3 or 4 spots every single time, there's just not many hitters in this league that they're going to feel good facing him. So he's got that type of stuff that, there's about 3 guys like that in the whole major leagues, and he's one of them. And we're seeing it really early here in camp. Looks like his arm's feeling good. I mean, coming from Minnesota, I was one of the harder throwers in the pen, and now I'm just trying to get a little bit, recognition. These guys that can throw 100 miles an hour, 5 of them. So even young guys like Sam McWilliams has impressed the heck out of me since I've been here, just seeing how the ball comes out of his hand. A lot of guys that I wasn't aware of before I came here that also throw in the high 90s. So I'm just trying to fit in, just trying to be part of the crew. But that's really exciting. There's going to be some really, really impressive, 6, 7, 8, 9 back to back outings this year. I think out of this bullpen, I'm really excited for the potential.
Trevor May is our guest. Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to fit in, you can just, hang out with Syndergaard, with the shirtless crew, just in the weight room.
Don't want to see me.
Listen, I'm just saying, you want to make friends. I mean, you can, stake out that corner of the weight room with Noah Syndergaard,
Absolutely. Guy's an animal too. It's one of those things where you're like, I mean, I want to hang out, but I also don't want to work out that hard.
No thanks.
Well, let you use all the equipment. I'll just hang out here and watch.
Just with the bands. I'll be over here with the bands. You can be over there with the squats and the bench press.
Does anyone bust Noah's chops about the shirtless videos, the continuous shirtless videos?
You tell him to put a shirt on?
No, it's just his thing. I mean, he's a big dude. He's not just lightly.
So you're not going to be the one that busts his chops. Is that what you're saying, Trevor?
I'm a big guy too, but I'm not going to bust his chops. I to each his own. I'm very, very much in the camp of be you, figure out you, and if you want to, battle the Florida humidity by not wearing your shirt, by all means, all you do, go for it.
Trevor May is our guest. And, but Noah does it two ways, right? Like, he'll be the intimidating factor and that intimidating guy in person. And then he's also got the Twitter muscles as well. And you're someone who's also, like, extremely online, if you will. But you're not, like, a Twitter beef guy. DJ Haybeef, formerly known as, a.k.a. DJ Mazer, you are not a Twitter beef guy.
We got emphasis on formal.
Okay, sorry. Well, we're retiring DJ Haybeef. Apologies. But have you gotten into Twitter beefs, or this is just an area of the internet that you stay away from?
It's just not my personality. I avoid conflict wherever I can. It was just weird because it looks like I love conflict when I'm pitching. That has been something that's developed over the years. My persona changes a little bit when I'm out there. But yeah, it's just I prefer to have some funny banter back and forth, but nothing I say can ever be construed as being serious. And that's just the way I like to do it. No, don't need to. I have some hot takes. I'll go in on some topics and stuff.
What's your hottest take?
My hottest take, some hot takes based on some of the rules we've had changes. For example, when we had the 3-batter rule, I did a video on it, why I didn't like it at first, and then I did like it, and then I didn't like it. But I'm just seeing a trend with changes in baseball. There's a lot of rule changes that are affecting relievers exclusively and nobody else. And I'm always not going to be a big fan of things that make my job harder. They're like, we got to shorten the games out, so let's just throw a guy on second. Relievers, go deal with it. It's like, yay. So
thank you,
that kind of stuff, I'll go in and be like, come on, couldn't we, I don't know, figure out a way to make someone else's job a little bit harder. But now that I'm thinking about it, there aren't really many ways to do that. So stuff like that. But in terms of going at people, it's just not. Every once in a while, I'll clap back at a disgruntled fan or something. But, sometimes we're human beings. You can't just stay silent all the time. We're humans. Sometimes you got to stand up for yourself a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Trevor, I'm curious, stepping into this team for spring training as a Met, any one of these guys, you've got Lindor, Alonso, Conforto, you mentioned about James, James McCann, been impressed there, Jacob deGrom. Anybody surprise you getting to know this group and what has been a really, really close-knit group for the last 2 years?
Surprises, not really. I've been pretty aware of this group of guys. One thing that really actually surprised me is that I assumed a lot of guys had been around a lot longer than they have. There's a couple staples in the lineup that are still pretty young in their career, a lot younger guys than I thought. Nimmo is one that comes to mind. He's kind of got an approach at the plate that seems like a little bit beyond his years with the amount of service time he has. So, but I was with a group like that over in Minnesota with the Sano, Eddie Rosario, Byron Buxton, Max Kepler group. They all came up together. They were all young and they've kind of developed, and it was really nice. And we added Nelly Cruz, and they all kind of got into their stride at the exact same time. And I see that as something that could happen very, very easily here with Dom Smith and Nimmo and McNeil and these guys who've had some success in the past. But if they all are good at the same time, it's a 100+ win team. So it's just the talent's there. It's there in the pen. It's there as a starting rotation, obviously, and it's there in the field. So that's what you want. The team's built for sure here, and then you add guys like Conforto, who's been doing it for a long time. Shout out Northwest guy, and like the way that you can move our lineup around. Like we were trying to put the lineup. We were talking about it the other day in the weight room. We were trying to make our lineup, and we forgot about well, what about Conforto? Well, we got to put Pete in there because he's a right-handed bat. Well, where do we put? And then we got guys who are 3-hole on a lot of other teams batting eighth in our lineup, and that fires me up. I'm so excited to see because as a pitcher, the more runs you can score, the better. Right?
Man.
So
that's like relief pitchers. They're just like us because that's what Moose and I sit around doing all day. Who's going to hit where? Where's that person going to hit? Oh, I forgot about this person.
I'm just not in the weight room, Trevor. I apologize doing it.
Moose, I was trying to cover for you. Trevor May is our guest. Just a couple more minutes with you, and we're just getting some news now that unfortunately Carlos Carrasco has been experiencing some soreness in his elbow, and Luis Rojas is saying that he's going to shut it down for a couple days, but they expect him to be back right away. I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, Trevor. I mean, is that news to you or no?
It's little news, but I'm going to be honest. Here in especially like the first 10 days of March, really a common thing.
Yeah.
Especially when you get into your 30s, like, you got to find out how you're going to use your ibuprofens, and you haven't taken any anti-inflammatories for months, and then you're like, oh wow, I got a bunch of gremlins all over my body. I got to figure out how to get this stuff going, especially as you start ramping up. And he was a little late too, so it's one of those normal things. Like, sometimes you just need a couple few days before you get into a game, and then once you get in that stride, and I had a little bit of that, like, wow, I didn't recover as well as I thought I would last night. Let's give it one more day, and then after that I was fine. So it's probably one of those situations. I'm not going to speculate, but I'm an optimistic guy, and I know Carlos knows his body and knows what he's doing. He's been doing this a long time at a really high level. So
Trevor, what about the adjustment you mentioned as far as not just where you are, how old you are, but coming off the year that every player came off last year, and now going into a full season, not as many spring training games as you mentioned it, ramping back up, playing a full 162 after the stop and start nature last year, getting it going, condensed 60-game season, impact on you guys now getting yourselves ready for a full 162.
Yeah, there's going to be some kinks probably going into the first month of that season. I think everyone's going to experience that a little bit, especially for a lot of the guys who are bubble guys who spent a lot of time over at the alternate site or maybe never even got into a game last year. They were just hanging out, so they actually haven't played. That's going to be interesting. But there is a flip side to that coin. There's going to be a lot of fresh arms. So, that's one thing I say. I had Tommy John surgery in 2017. I said, well, I haven't pitched in a year, but also I haven't pitched in a year, so right. I got a fresh shoulder, and let's see how I feel. So you always feel really good after that first off season, after you played a little bit and then come back from Tommy John. Like, so in 2019 when I came back spring, I was feeling like $1 million. So I talked to some guys feeling amazing, balls flying out of their hand from the beginning, but there's going to be a big emphasis on rest, I believe. We're kind of moving in that direction anyways, knowing Hef and knowing how high we over communicate. So giving guys extra days where we can and stuff, that's always going to be part of the program. And it's going to be more and more important this year, I think, just making sure everyone is really in tune with their body and how they're feeling.
Yeah, totally understand that. And obviously, Mets are hoping that bodes well for Noah Syndergaard maybe this year, or even more so if they get an extension done for the future. Trevor, you've carved out a lot of time for us. We really appreciate it. I got one more for you just from me. And I saw your cribs video that you put on YouTube, and it wasn't a full cribs video. It was just your office that you took everybody through. I got to be honest, props. I was very, very impressed. First of all, I'm also someone who did the Marie Kondo method. It's the only way to get the clutter out of your space and out of your head, your life. But also, this is a crazy setup. You've got 3-4 screens. You've got multiple servers. Is all that stuff going with you to New York, or do you have 2 different setups?
I have 2 different setups. I actually just recently ordered I have 2 PCs. One of those monitors goes to one PC and the 2 go to the other one. And
you got a light panel that's connected to Alexa?
I took the light panels last year. I had the light panels with me last year because the room I was in Minnesota was just like this. It was just blank. So I was like, I need something. So those panels are cool. I was not about to take them off the wall again and put them. So we kept it a little bit light, but I actually had a new PC ordered this year. It was supposed to come down to Florida. There was miscommunication. So it's actually in my house in New York already. And I don't kind of sad about that, but we made sure it's not sitting on a doorstep anywhere. No one's going to take it. So it's kind of a big purchase, and I'm really excited about it because it's about the strongest PC I've ever owned. Yeah, I have a setup for the season that stays kind of in a pod. I got one of those desks that you can standing desk, and
yes.
You have foot pedals that can mute or unmute your stream.
I have foot pedals, yes. I have foot pedals because I'm notorious for accidentally muting myself when I shouldn't be, and the opposite, saying things to people that aren't with me, and they can hear me. Oh, sorry. So I got foot pedals, so I don't have to remember to push a button in the game. I can just tap my foot, and it's an easy fix. Changed my life. Highly recommend it. Anyone Zoom calls, it's muting. Just Amazon. Get yourself some foot pedals so you don't have to remember to push any buttons.
Well, Trevor, listen, continued good luck this year. Stay healthy. Good luck with the Mets. We appreciate all the time you gave us, and enjoy the rest of spring training, all right?
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
You got it.
Appreciate
Trevor
that,
May.
Trevor.
There you
Thanks
go.
so much.
Go
You
get
got to
foot
see
pedals.
it. You got to check out the Cribs video. He's got like all the artwork too from like every house of Game of Thrones.
That's awesome.